the White Panther. So, normally, I do not even feel like talking about the comics for a couple of reasons. Because the comics don't always translate to the movies or TV shows. But because of this conversation with Black Panther, and because of what it spurred, I had to talk about it today because everybody was going to ask me about it either way. So I figured let's just knock this out. Let's get this out the way. If you're new to my channel, Black Panther is something that I am very passionate about. I am a fan of the franchise. I have been very vocal of my opinions of the decision making, the creative decision making when it comes to the passing of Chadwick Boseman, trying to pass on the mantle prematurely, in my opinion, and obviously recasting the character of T'Challa and his significance, so on and so forth. One other thing I've always talked about was, of course, Black representation, right? The character of T'Challa, specifically, not the mantle of Black Panther, the character of T'Challa was created by Jack Kirby, the legend. And the story goes, according to him, he was walking down, he saw these white kids reading comic books, and he saw that they saw heroes that looked like them. But then when he'd see the black kids looking at the comic books, they didn't have anyone that looked like them, at least not a leading character. There were little background characters drawn in gray, but they didn't have black characters that they could look up to as a hero. So in 1966, right, around the civil rights era, he decided to create the character of T'Challa that embodied basically the best of the best, right? He was one of the smartest. He was one of the most athletically gifted. He was a king. He led the most futuristic, non-colonized, non-enslaved African nations in the world. He was that guy. Right? That was the epitome of Black representation embodied into the character, not the mantle of Black Panther, but the person of T'Challa. Okay. So recently, ever since the passing of Chadwick Boseman, Marvel has made some interesting moves. One, they decided to double down and kill T'Challa in Wakanda Forever. They wanted to mirror what happened to Chadwick Boseman and make that also happen to T'Challa in the movies. That is something I vehemently disagree with. I think it is incredibly problematic, and they have stuck with that decision so far. Now, maybe things will change. We don't know. There's a whole multiverse happening. They try to spiritually recast him, I suppose, with the whole giving him a son thing, T'Challa Jr. But I don't think that that's the best course for them to take. Now, one of the main reasons why I felt that way is because the character was created for Black representation in a positive way. And the hope was so that this character would be treated not only by Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, or even the late, great Chadwick Boseman. The hope was that this Black character would be able to stand side by side with the likes of the Hulk and Superman and Wolverine and all these other popular characters. That was the hope. So, of course, when you get rid of the character or if you mishandle the character in certain ways, my issue is, why aren't you doing that? If you don't do that with the white characters, why would you do that with the Black characters? Right? That's the whole point. Equal treatment. So recently, and again, I try not to go into the comics because the comics are, who knows what they can do. They do a lot of wild things. There was a new Marvel comic that recently came out, Marvel Knights, I believe. And this one is actually another story. I don't know if this is like a Elseworlds thing. I don't think it's canon. I doubt it, but it's out there and it's getting people talking. And this one is actually written by Christopher Priest, and it's drawn by Joe Quesada. And what's interesting is the fact that Christopher Priest is responsible for some of the great Black Panther series. Great. Like I personally like Reginald Hudlin more. He was like who I started reading and watching first. But Christopher Priest also has some really good stuff. I mean, T'Challa fighting the KKK. Like Christopher Priest, he is that dude too. But in this story, T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, dies as an old man. So just so you know, spoiler alert, in case you did not know or if you haven't seen this, I'm going to go over some of the spoilers in here. So it says here, after Storm died in an event called the Race War, the former king of Wakanda made a drastic decision, and that was to have a child with Monica Lynn. All right. T'Challa and Monica's son is named Ketima or Katima. He grows up resenting his father and eventually challenging him for the throne of Wakanda. He defeats him, though he does spare his life for reasons that have yet to be revealed, and takes his place as the new Black Panther. So the issue, though, the plot twist comes, is the fact that when Ketima takes off his mask, he's white. Okay, he is white. Now Christopher Priest had said this in a previous interview. He said that T'Challa's death occurs on page 2, so it's something early, and that the real focus is how we got to that point. But the author remains silent about the new Black Panther, Ketima. Everything suggests he prefers readers to discover and to draw their own conclusions. So when this came out, I remember seeing a lot of the people online, a lot of the outrage. Now, here's what Ketima looks like. He took off his mask, and this is what he looked like. White guy, blonde hair, supposedly T'Challa's son, right? Now, it's very early in the series, and there are a lot of questions. The questions obviously are, how could T'Challa have a white son? I mean, T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, did adopt a white, boy before. That's where the white wolf came from, but that was obviously its own little thing. Let me just say that there's too much in this story that is not resolved yet. We don't know if this is his biological son. We don't know if this is a genetically engineered son. I don't know why he would genetically engineer a white guy, but whatever. We don't know the specifics yet. And because we don't know the specifics, I refuse to be gaslit by this. I know there are people that are really upset about this, and I totally understand why you would be upset about this. Why? Because as I mentioned before, T'Challa, Black Panther, is the embodiment of Black representation. So even passing the mantle down to a white person, it feels very colonizer-ish, right? Now, one bit of credit someone may give is the fact that it's also Christopher Priest. This is a guy who, like I mentioned before, he was not shy about getting the blackety blackness out of T'Challa in the past. At the same time, this also could be, and this is partially where I think I'm going to feel more comfortable in believing, this is shock value. This is shock value more so than anything. I feel like when you look at comics, and I've said this before, comics are extremely niche, right? Yes, we have the movies, then you have the TV shows, then you got maybe animation, but then you got comics. The comics are not something that is mainstream. So, because of that, they have to do whatever they need to do to get attention. I remember one of the most viral things that I had ever seen from a comic was the shocking information that Superman died. I remember that as a kid. I remember seeing it on the Channel 7 news. Superman dies. It was amazing. It was crazy. It shocked the comic world. I remember not even too long after that, um, Captain America, Hail Hydra. What? What? Blew people's minds, right? Or even more recently in 2015, Thor is a woman now, or Captain America is now black. Like, this is not new when they need to sell comics. So the idea that they would sit here and show you something this shocking, to me, feels like it lacks substance. So I refuse to get gaslit over this. I refuse to go into some sort of tirade. One, because I don't think that this is the full story and I don't know all the details. Two, I think that this is just marketing. I think it's just marketing. And three, I would like to believe, and this is wishful thinking, that Marvel is not that dumb. They could be. They absolutely could be. But I would hope that they're not that dumb. So, of course, and I'm sure many of you have already thought about this, the problem with this is that this has spurred and rekindled the ongoing meme, I guess, or the idea of Ryan Gosling. And people are like, oh my gosh, Ryan Gosling now could actually be in the MCU as Black Panther. Now, some of you may not know, like, why is this? What's the deal with this Ryan Gosling thing or whatever? Just to kind of give you an idea of like why he gets brought up. People created this as a joke. They created, Ryan Gosling as Black Panther as a joke, and it was based off of their race swapping concerns, right? The core of the joke was basically the perceived absurdity of casting a white actor, Ryan Gosling, as a character who's so intricately tied to his blackness, right? That juxtaposition is what made the joke so funny. What I think is even funnier is the fact that people feel as though the epitome of whiteness is Ryan Gosling. I think that's even funnier than the joke that they try to make. You also have obviously the casting expectations. Ryan Gosling is known for being, Ken and Barbie and trying to portray a serious Black Panther character. It's just one of those things that it's so crazy. It's just funny to some people. Then, of course, you got the multiverse. The multiverse, you can have variants. So, yeah, there's a little bit of room, I guess, where you could make this happen. And then, of course, there's always been talk of Ryan Gosling being into the MCU. Da 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 da. So, let me just say this because, again, I refuse to make this and take this seriously. If Marvel decided to actually make not even just Ryan Gosling, but a white person as Black Panther. If you wanted to do it as a joke, what I would need from Marvel, and I'm not even advocating this because I don't even want to see it. But if you want to be cute and you want to try this, he better die faster than y'all killed off Reed Richards in that last Doctor Strange 2 movie. Just show up out of a portal and immediately you kill them off, since y'all like killing characters anyway. That could be the only way I could see it. Now, again, I don't think that would be funny. I don't think it's even necessary. But if y'all did try this, I guess. But I would also forewarn Marvel, even if you try this, even propping up a beloved Black writer, and even if you had the gall to put this on screen, you would be risking a lot. And what I mean by that is that's absolutely something I would have. And I never supported it before. I didn't blame people, but that's something I would have to boycott straight up. Like straight up. If you ever lost your mind and put a white person as Black Panther, I don't care what the story says. That's boycottable for me. That's all. And the reason why I would do that, the reason why I would actually support a boycott, because one thing I was not going to do when it came to recast T'Challa, again, I didn't knock anybody if they wanted to boycott. I personally was not going to boycott an all black led movie because while I had differences of creative, decisions, definitely disagreed, I'm not going to compromise my other objective, which is to support black representation. So that was not a line I was going to cross. But if Marvel decided to ever cross that, you absolutely need to get boycotted to the upteenth degree. Yeah, like I would do everything in my ability to call y'all out, go on TV, do whatever. That would be inexcusable and unforgivable. And let me be very clear. The reason why I would do that, furthermore, because it's not funny, is because I don't see that same energy when y'all want to talk about other ethnic characters. When are y'all gonna sit here and replace the Jewish character with an Asian? When are y'all gonna replace the Native American character with, I don't know, some other race? When are y'all gonna do some swapping of a Muslim character, in that regard? Like, y'all don't like this. If you're not doing this with everybody, but you happen to just do it with a significantly important black character, you lose all my respect. I'm not saying you should do that with the other characters. I think you should respect the other ones too. But I'm just saying, nah, you would lose all the respect, period. And it's not going to be worth the little ha 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 joke that will only last for 10 seconds by a small segment of people on the internet. So anyway, I apologize for even giving this more time than it needed. I think that this is ridiculous. If they ever go the movie route with it, I think that it's unnecessary. I think that the comics are just doing this as a ploy. This is absolutely not a comic that I will be going out to read. This might actually be one of those things that I wait on the sidelines. I'm gonna let y'all read it. I'm gonna let other people read it. I'm gonna wait for other people to comment on it. And just like the John Ridley comic run, where they decided to make T'Challa go on a world tour to get his butt whooped, y'all wasn't getting my money for that. You were not getting my money for that. I did not see y'all. No, absolutely not. So y'all can miss me with this. This comic run will not get my money. I will wait for somebody to drop it online for free, and I'm still not gonna read it. I'm gonna wait for other opinions, and then I'll leave that at that. But this better never see the light of day on the film scene or even on the TV scene. Like, that would just literally prove how inept and disconnected you are from the black community, which, by the way, we make things popular. The black community elevates things, and Sinners is one of those examples. When we love stuff, that's when everybody's like, what's going on over there? Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay. Let's go with that. Because we're not part of the status quo. That's just the definition of cool, right? Like anything that's not part of mainstream that gets elevated, that's how you get to know what's popular or not. So anyway, I don't want to give this any more energy. Again, I've talked about this for too long, but you guys let me know. What do you think about this comic? What do you think about the potential? Do you think Marvel could be crazy enough? Do you think they could be crazy enough to actually go this route and even be dumb enough to hire Ryan Gosling for the jokes? Whatever you think, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.